Happy day 52. And I had a conversation this past weekend with an incredible group of leaders. And the conversation that we wanted to touch base on was gossip. And how do you get gossip under control within teams? You see, whether you're married or whether you work within an organization, you are in relationships that are two-way streets. You don't have 100% of control of how it turns out or how strong it is. So I gave this a little bit more thought, and I thought we would talk about it today specifically because it's more than one step to kind of get in front of the gossip that can occur in the workplace. Now, whether you have teams of 50, 500, or 50,000, these rules can still apply. The first rule in my book for communication is have guiding principles that your entire organization kind of abide by. The most significant one that I use every single day in every relationship that I have is this principle. And that is that people make decisions and act with the best of intention. If someone's not acting with the best of intention, what would the opposite of that be? Malice, to be malicious. Now, at my core, I want to believe that all people are good. I'm sure you do too. And we realize that at times people make mistakes. We are human. But as long as they make decisions with the best of intention, and that's how you view it first, you can actually avoid some conflict. An example, you have a teammate and you're fighting over whose idea something was. The other person took full credit. Now, you could assume malice, or you could think best of intention, and take an opportunity to go speak with that person. And now here's where you get in front of the gossip. Hi, Sydney. If you have a problem with me, then there should be a guiding expectation that the first person you speak with about that is me. You see, gossip starts when people put other people's names on their lips in a third-party conversation. If I am going to Bob and talking about Sue, I have now made my challenge or potential challenge with Sue Bob's problem too. Now the next time something occurs, even if Sue and I resolve it, Bob now has a perception of Sue. And before you know it, you get these little silos going on because people find it more comfortable to speak to a friend or a work friend about that situation rather than go simply to the person. It's super important if you are an executive, if you are a leader, you set some clear guidelines and expectations on how communication occurs. And what are your guiding principles? I shared my biggest one with you. There's more. But to keep these short, I'm going to share the one. And that is always that people make decisions with the best of intention. Now, let's think about that same scenario, because many times in the workplace, we are all, you are Bob, that person that someone comes to speak about a challenge or a perception that they have about Sue. If you are Bob and I come to you, my hope, my expectation is that you say, you know what? Do you believe Sue did that to be malicious? Use the guiding principle to bounce them back. If they say yes, well, that's unfortunate. Then recommend that they go talk to Sue's supervisor if they're not comfortable going to Sue. But secondly, if you're Bob, I'm not your audience. We all agreed that we would go to the person, and if we weren't comfortable enough to go to the person, we would go to the person's supervisor. If you can maintain this, if you can get this practice into place and get a full agreement by everybody within your teams, what you're going to find is that those people who love chaos, who flourish in chaos and gossip, will be flushed out of your teams because they become more and more obvious if they will not adhere to what it is that the group agrees to have healthy communication. So one, decide guiding principles that your entire teams will go by. Best of intention is a great one. Two, Don't go to third parties and don't permit people to go to third parties to speak about a conflict or concern of another team member. And then 3, if you are the third party someone tries to come to, because understand it takes a while to set new habits, commit to asking the guiding principle question and then ultimately pushing them back. Don't listen. You're not their friend by being a participant in this and not helping them grow and develop a healthier way to communicate. We are all capable. And again, if you work within teams, or even if you're married, you find that these things are really important to deal with. Think about it. If you are a husband and wife and you have a challenge with your husband and you're going to so and such, whomever that might be, your best friend, whatever, to discuss that problem with your husband, yet you've not talked about it with your husband, you have a fundamental problem with communication within your marriage. Now, as hard as that can be to hear, that's reality. So your first point of contact in the point of conflict should be the person who the conflict is with. I hope this was helpful. Shout out to the leaders who asked me about it. Hopefully this gives you a little bit more idea and framework around how to handle those things should they come up in the workplace. Have a great day.